Have you ever seen someone who is having a hard time, but you didn't know what to do? Have you ever been approached by someone who really needed to talk, but you didn't know what to say? If so, then this video is for you. My name is Mick Lynch, and I'm a mental health counselor at Winona State University. And this video was created to accompany the guide on Winona State's website on how to help someone in distress. And here's a copy of what you can download or print from Winona State's site. And what I'm going to do here is walk you through section by section and give you some tips on how to best use this guide to have a caring conversation to help someone in distress. You will see in the bottom right-hand corner of upcoming slides an arrow indicating where on the guide this information can be found. And we created this guide in a way that it can be used by most anyone. It can be used by staff, faculty, and teachers, students, friends, and teammates, parents, and relatives. It is our belief that no matter who you are, you have the ability to make a positive impact in the lives of others. If you simply care and you educate yourself about what to look for, what action to take, and what resources are available, which is what I'm going to be going through here. Now, one caveat before we begin. I want to stress that this video is just a guide. Every person and every situation is unique. So we ask that you take what you learn here, add to it your best judgment and problem-solving skills to help navigate these helping conversations. So let's begin. Helping starts with awareness, knowing and recognizing possible signs that someone is in distress, struggling, or generally having a hard time. On the actual guide, these signs of distress are condensed into that green box you see here. I've expanded the list here to give you a little broader look at some things you may notice. And although I'm going to go through these rather quickly, I encourage you to pause the video and take a little longer look at what's on these slides. So here are some emotional and behavioral signs of distress. Here are some physical signs or indicators. And if the person you're talking to is a student, here are some signs you may notice in the classroom that could indicate they may be having a hard time. Okay, let's say you've recognized some signs that a person is in distress. And because you care and you may be concerned, you now want to initiate a conversation with that person. Now, many people don't know how to start this conversation. They may feel uncomfortable or they feel it's not their place, so they don't do anything. One thing we don't want to do is miss, dismiss, or avoid the signs when we see them. And please know that you don't have to be a counselor to have a caring conversation. You just need to know some basic communication skills that are going to help you out. On this slide and in the online guide, you will see some questions to get you started. For example, I've noticed you've been a bit more withdrawn lately, and I'm wondering how you're doing. Or, I'd like to talk to you about some changes I've noticed in class. Is that okay? As you read through these, I encourage you to make the language your own and use language that the person you're talking to is going to understand. Mostly, you should remember that you can't go wrong by showing empathy and compassion and offering a private, safe, non-judgmental space where they can talk and feel supported. Also, when you're talking with the person in distress, make them your priority. Put other things aside. Be fully present and focus on them and their needs. Show them verbally and non-verbally that you genuinely want to listen, understand, and help. Okay, so congrats. You've got the conversation started. Now we want to keep it rolling, encouraging the person to talk, help you understand, and work towards some type of solution. You can do this by paying attention and listening more than you talk. And don't assume you know what they're going through. Don't assume you know how they feel. Don't assume you know what's best for them. Rather than assume, ask them. Ask some good questions to help gather information and gain a clear understanding of what they're experiencing. I often say that if you're stuck wondering what to say or ask, try one of these. Help me understand what that's like for you, or help me understand what's going on. Or perhaps, tell me more about that. And once you ask, listen. Listen to their perspective, their story, their point of view. Again, put your own stuff aside and be patient. Allow them to speak without agenda, interruption, or judgment. Listen with the intent to understand, not just respond. And during the conversation, check with them to make sure you're hearing and understanding them correctly. For example, you seem worried about what's happening with your family right now. Is that right? Or, sounds like you're having a really difficult time right now and don't know what to do. Is that correct? Or maybe even, what I hear you saying is that you don't feel heard, and that is frustrating. Is that pretty accurate? And just a quick word about giving advice. Although we may be tempted to give advice in these situations, try not to give unsolicited advice and don't overload them with information. It can actually cause even more distress. And while we encourage you to have open conversation, there are some things that I've heard as a helping professional, or I've had other people tell me that really aren't very helpful, and we should probably shy away from using in these types of conversations. With individuals in distress, it is important to keep on your radar, is this an emergency? Is this person safe? Are they showing or telling me something that makes me wonder, are they going to hurt or kill themselves? If you've ever observed some of the warning signs of distress and you believe that a person may be thinking of hurting or killing themselves, ask about this directly. Now, I know this is a very difficult thing to do. It's difficult to say out loud, but it's also necessary. Ask, are you thinking about hurting or killing yourself? Or sometimes when people feel the way you do right now, they think of hurting or killing themselves. Have you been thinking of either of these? Talking with people about suicide won't put the idea in their heads. Instead, asking shows that you care and invites them to talk about it more openly. Now, not every conversation requires asking this, but it's better to ask, have them say no, and move on with the conversation than to leave it unsaid when they're actually having thoughts of wanting to hurt or kill themselves. In some circumstances, suicide prevention may be a matter of a caring person with the right knowledge being in the right place at the right time. And that person may be you. And when you ask the question and their answer is yes, then it's time to get additional support. Reassure the person that help is available and that you will help them get it. Consider saying something like this. Right now, I'm concerned about you and want to make sure you get the help you need. Or let's talk to someone who can help you through this. Let's call the crisis line together. While doing this, know and practice your own boundaries. My role here is to educate or to coach or to be a friend. Let's connect you with a professional in the area who can help you through this right now. And through this process, don't leave them alone and actually make the connection. Don't just give them the information. And when it comes to connecting with resources, here are some Winona area resources as well as some national ones. I encourage you to be sure to check resources in your area before you actually need them. And please, put those resources, those phone numbers into your phone and encourage others in your life to do the same so it's there in a second's notice if you need them. Now, if it's not an emergency, you may think that you're done, but not quite. The person you're with is still distressed and could use some help. And a lot of times that help can be just guiding them through a problem-solving process and then making a plan for action. You can kind of think of it as talking about where they're at, where they want to go, and how they're going to get there. And in this process, it's good to help them explore options and choose the one that's best for them right now. A couple of tips here. Ask what they want and help them work toward that specifically. Try to focus on an aspect of the problem that is manageable for them right now. Maybe help them recall methods that have worked in the past that they could use now to cope. And ask what they're already doing to address the problem. And here is a general list of things you may want to consider doing as you go through this process of helping someone in distress. One thing I specifically want to point out is that helping someone through a difficult time can take its toll on any of us. Be aware of your own needs and limits. Be honest with yourself about how much time and emotional energy you can spend helping. Maintain and respect healthy boundaries. Practice self-care. And know that you are not alone and that help is available to you too if you need it. In contrast to things you should consider doing when you're helping someone in distress, here are some things you may want to avoid doing. I sincerely hope that each of you has gained something from this video that you may be able to use to help someone in distress. Some of the things I hope you take away today are that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, you have the ability to make a positive impact in the lives of other people. And sometimes just the simple act of caring for others is enough. And you add to it some of those communication skills of listening, questioning, really understanding. It goes a long ways. And also, you are never alone, and help is always available. With that, I thank you, and I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves and each other.